my mother's father, Mehmet Ali Bey. His family just came from Syria to Izmir.
Okay.
And he is like the hero of our family. Like, he passed away when he was so young, and like every week we talk about him. Mehmet Ali would do this, Mehmet Ali would do that. He's like a hero to us.
So you never actually saw him?
I saw him 3 years, almost 3 years, but he was my favorite character also in those 3 years. He has a beautiful story. He's the smallest sibling, and in 1950s he becomes a doctor in Istanbul. Then his mother tells him to go to United States to work post graduation lessons, and he becomes one of the first anesthesiologists.
You won't probably do a role in a project, even if you like the role, if the project itself does not move you.
I'm concerned about the project,
yes,
and the story.
Yes.
The character is my duty. We can always work on that.
Yeah.
But the story and what it tells, and in a sense, what it admits. If it's just a story to sell, I mean, we have so many stories. Whose story is this, and who is admitting what?
That's very impressive, and it's very true, because again, every story has its own significance, and even if you have heard it before, even if it's similar, but every story hits somewhere different, and I'm sure it happens with you. So after graduating, you said, and I quote, that you were staring at the blank wall. You're like, so what's next? And this gets me to ask, were you still not sure about pursuing acting, especially that you haven't studied acting at college? You studied marketing and finance, which is completely different, right?
So you're asking if right now I'm going to go
at the
on?
time, why? When you graduated, you were like, you weren't sure about what you're gonna do. Like, acting was not the first choice.
No, actually, but I didn't have another choice also. Yeah. So I was studying stock exchange in university, and I just got into that department by chance also. I mean, I just wanted to move to Istanbul. I wasn't interested. I mean, I couldn't win the departments I was interested in, to be honest. So I was in Istanbul, and I was offered to act, and I started acting, and I thought I'd do it till I graduate. So the time came after 8 years, somehow I graduated. And I sat and thought to myself, if I want to quit, I can quit now. If I want to really do it, I should decide. And so this uncertainty made me face that actually I want to do this as a profession, and I want to understand myself also and the craft. So that's how I went to New York.
And why did you choose going to New York specifically? Even though there are lots of Turkish acting schools and institutes, you went to New York, and you also chose Stella Adler School. Why?
I mean, I did some research, and starting from Marlon Brando, they have huge actors from the school, and their technique is actually looking in the nature, taking anything you can take from the nature, the inspiration, and bring it to the craft, and start working on it. And in one point, it will be so unique that it will never look alike to any of your characters before, or any other actors' characters. So that's the idea, when the reason I went to New York. But New York chapter in my life is another story, because more than acting technique, the life there, me going there as a Turkish guy, doesn't make any sense. Nobody knows what a Turkish, nobody expects anything. So I had to find my own existentialism. So what am I? What am I going to do? I was kind of popular in Istanbul, but I was working in a coat check in a 2 meter square room.
In New York.
In New York.
Yeah.
And that experience is still the greatest experience of my life. I was there alive, myself, have no responsibilities for anybody else than me. So to understand myself and what I mean, New York represents a lot. But I would say my acting foundation actually started at Kadir Has University in Istanbul.
Okay.
And that technique, I mean, if I say it, if I may call it, is
Technique.
always searching for the meaning. What does it mean? What does it mean? Why? The sense of meaning to everything. Dramaturgy. I don't know if it's English the same.
Yeah, dramatology. Yes.
Yes,
yes,
dramatology.
yes.
So, but I still find myself just trying to be a fox at home, coming from cell elder years.
I'm sure it added. I'm sure it added something, and it gave something, and it somehow directed your acting technique. And this also gets me to ask you about the telenovela acting. And TV and drama acting is somehow different than theater. And you had a theater experience, and you had a film experience. But how did you manage to tweak all of this very in-depth work when it came to you studying acting, whether in Turkey or back in New York, into your work in series and TV acting? And is this the reason why you have stood out? You have given a different kind of approach to, for example, acting as a villain in Yargi, or generally, I mean, how was that effective for you as an actor?
The studying process affected
Studying in the TV, and then you being a TV star mainly now.
Yes. How can I answer this? Actually, it gave me a sense of discipline, first of all, to work on something, to come on stage, because I was never on an Italian stage after my high school years. So being here, people are watching me, was a new experience for me before going to school. And having images for the scene. I mean, you have to work on to get some images. So I see some images acting, and I see people through those images. Then everything becomes much easier. Even it's a chaos in the set,
Yes.
or something's going wrong, you have
Yes.
your images.
Yes.
So I can answer you with this. I get some
Discipline.
kind of images and discipline.
Of course, and this is very important because you shoot for crazy hours and non-stop actually, so that you end up watching hours and hours of a successful show. So I'm sure discipline is a very big factor in this process.
I mean, yes, working in a Turkish series, you need more than discipline. You need a crazy character to carry on, a great willpower to work and work and work and work. Yes, and maybe we are not normal.
But you're not normal, but you're amazing. I'm sure, and I'm sure it gives us all. You give us joy. I mean, honestly, I just first I forgot to tell you. Like every time I posted about this talk, or I told someone that I'm gonna meet you or whatever, especially females, as you can see, I've been bombarded with lots of greetings from loads of women and girls from not Egypt, only the Arab world. So I just wanted you to give them a word, because I mean they're waiting for that word. So what would you tell your fan base of beautiful women, and specifically, obviously, guys, but I mean the women? What would you tell them, because they're the huge fans of yours?
Actually, it's like I'm living someone else's life. I mean, it doesn't feel real. I can not fully engage because, like every night or for weeks, we are coming to your houses, and you feel like we are in your saloon with your family. You talk about us with your family members, and that also builds up your relationships with people around you.
True.
I can say, hopefully, and I'm wishing to come back and visit you at your homes as soon as possible. I'm looking for that. I mean, for myself also.
And we are also looking forward to it. Seriously, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Back to your career, and I already hammered on that point for a reason. You started, as we said, working at your 20s, but you obviously gained this huge fame later. I mean, now, which is not that far from the 20s yet. But having this not very fast way to success and fame, was it actually frustrating, or on the contrary, do you think it was healthy? How did it affect you, having these slow but sure successful steps stretched over 15 to 20 years?
Actually, I wished for this. I wished not to be famous early. And I believe everybody meets their wishes. We should be so cautious. I mean,
careful what you wish.
Careful what we wish for, and wish in a sense of yes. I wish it happens slowly, because it's not a blessing to be famous without being so successful and knowing the craft. So in that sense, I feel lucky.
Feel lucky?
Yes.
That's very important, because I mean, lots of young actors now, they strive for not necessarily success, and success equals fame, because the more famous you are, the more exposed you are, so the more roles you get. But there's a downside for fast fame, and that's what you're trying to tell me.
Yes, everybody's watching you, then you have no space to watch the things you are going to learn from, and you have so small space to understand what you are. Then people start to say, oh, you're like this, you're like this, and you start to build them on, and you accept them.
Yeah, and then you give them what they want at the end, which is not necessarily what you want.
Life is short.
Playing the bad guy or the villain is very tricky, because you can go into extreme, and you can go into overacting, and you can go into being not real. But you have managed to like make people almost hate you as Emir, and this was actually such an outstanding performance. How did you work on that role? Because this role has like, I'm sure, transformed your career 1000%. But how did you manage to play the villain from a very different area and from a very different perspective?
I never thought Emir was the bad guy, first of all. Now we can talk about it. Yes, he's a psychopath, but I would never admit that. Never.
He had his motives. He was convinced.
Yes, he was his motives, and I always kept in mind. He wants Nihan. He just loves one person, and my, as an actor, inside sentence then was, Emir loves Nihan more than Kemal, and I kept saying that. That was my motive as the actor.
To yourself?
To myself.
Yes.
Even watching the series, I was saying, go Emir, go Emir. I was always with Emir. I never just came here and said, oh, maybe this guy is the bad guy.
But I know some friends of mine, they were like, I can't stand watching it. I know friends that actually stopped watching the series for a while by the very end because they couldn't take it. But you are complete 1000% convinced that you're
I
doing
was
the right
okay
thing.
with that. To be honest, I didn't think about the audience. Sorry. I mean, I didn't really think about it.
Yeah.
And acting, I was also, some scenes I was saying, this is too much. I should not do this. But at the end, that's the script, and I have to do it and go for it. And Emir was very well written. He was a great character on the script also.
Yes, very true. Very rich.
Yes, he's traumatized in his childhood, and he's a human. Actually, he has emotions, he has rage, and amazing willpower. I think that's why people somehow hated or loved, engaged. There was a huge willpower there.
Very true. How do you feel about the fact that the international recognition that both Kara and Jargi got through being in the Emmys and winning actually the Emmys? How do you think this have affected the Turkish drama industry in general, this international leap of success?
I think it gave us confidence, courage, because we've been telling stories for years since I was an audience, but never knew if they had any worth internationally. And after years, Emmy Awards, it's a great validation that we were maybe seeking for. Now we have our own voice, and it makes sense internationally.
Mm-hmm. And when did you actually realize that Turkish drama, when and how did you feel the growing love and success of Turkish drama in the Middle East?
Me, actually, after Kara Sevda, getting so many messages from the region and how people feel the stories are like their stories, their own stories, how they engage with our stories. I find it very close to me. Like, I guess they really, maybe we are telling the stories for you guys, that you are engaged. And feeling again the same word, familiar to you and the messages. So I started really reading all the messages. I had a period that I read everything written about.
Every single message?
Yes.
Wow.
The first season of Kara Sevda, I read everything, and at the end I sent the Instagram photo and I said, thank you very much. We're doing this because you are watching, and I've been read everything you've written. I don't read it everything right now, but it was a period that now I can actually sense what may be thought of.
Did you receive hate messages?
Very less, you know?
Yeah.
Very less.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they stopped watching.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe, probably.